It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 21st.
Yes, it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are we all here?
Check.
Good morning.
Are we excited about the longest day of the summer being, right now?
Yes, I'm
It
very
is.
excited.
Sure.
Happy summer, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy summer, everybody. Back in Black, the song, the summer, that album track came out in the summer of 1980. It's the biggest selling rock album of all time, but it was really the summer of 81 that all of the songs for Back in Black were everywhere on planet Earth. Summertime, summer of 81, at the pool, all of Back in Black seemed to be playing on the rock station pretty much throughout the day, every single day. When I think about summer, I almost always think about two things. One, I just don't want to get sunburned. Pasty little Irish kid. Spent my summers at the pool with a nice bass, but occasionally I'd forget and I'd get burned. It happens. And then the music, the songs that shaped my summer throughout my entire life. There was always something blasting that when I look back on any given time, there's a soundtrack is what I'm getting at. To every great summer moment. But summer really, summer means a lot of things to a lot of people beyond just simply, I'm out of school. I mean, I covered that in 1972, thanks to Alice Cooper. School's Out, that was the song of the summer. We all got it. But summers throughout my life, my birthday's in August, so when I get to the summer solstice every year, and everybody always says, what does summer mean to you? This is summer. This is great. This is a big, exciting thing. My first thought is, I got a birthday party at the pool. Hopefully we have pizza. And then I realized, I'm 58 this year. That's probably not going to happen. But then I think back to so many great things. There's so many wonderful, warm summer memories. But honestly, for me, it all crystallizes. The summer of 82 is the first one I always go back to. Not because it was so much fun, but because it was the one summer that really wasn't. Had a lot of family turmoil, working in a restaurant. But then I go, wait a minute, we actually had a blast because we were dealing with some hardships. And what do? You get up every day, you put your shoulder to the wheel, you crank on some tunes. And the fact that you hear Soft Cell's Tainted Love and John Mellencamp's Hurt So Good 16 times a day, you just get used to it. That's the soundtrack. You get through it and you have a good time. That was the summer of 82 for me. That's the summer I always go back to first because on the surface, it was the most difficult summer we ever had. And then the second I give it a little bit of thought, I realized, but we had such a great time because you band together, you face some hardships. My dad split, left the family with a restaurant that was failing, but my mom and two of my brothers and I, we literally we sucked it up and dealt with it, faced it head on, and had a great time.
Brought you closer.
It brought very much so. Yeah. When your family goes through something like that, sometimes you just, all the rules are off. It's a chance to kind of reset things, and that's what that was for us. Is there a specific summer, Zepp, that you go, hey, it's summer solstice, longest day of the year. It's officially now summer. Is there one that jumps out to you?
Hay. We made hay. That's all we did every summer. Hay. We had lots and lots of grass and alfalfa, and sometimes you get 2 or 3 cuts. So all summer long was sitting on a tractor making hay out in the fields.
Did you have a Walkman? Yeah. Was there any music playing on that tractor?
It was a old tractor. A Walkman wouldn't have done back then. Remember those little Walkman
sure.
That would kind of over your ears, but if mom would talk to you, it would drown out the sound, crank to 10. I mean, that probably didn't get it done out there, and Dad wasn't a big one about putting radios on tractors and that
probably
sort
not.
of thing. It wasn't all about that. Plus, we didn't have a lot of radio out there. I do remember, you talked about that summer of 82, however, or was it 83? I just feel like it was 82, but I have such a poor memory for years. That every moment I had, as I was 16 then, I could dash away, fly into town. I would go to the Woolsey Public Pool. That's where it was all happening. Where all the city kids, 26 of them, would get together. And there were girls in bikinis, and people were swimming in clean water, not that filthy dugout water. Dad'd be like, well, if you're hot, just go take a plunge in the dugout over there, but be careful. You get stuck in that mud. We'll have to play out. And cows were crapping in it. But heat of the moment, Asia was playing about every 15 minutes. I feel like it was that summer of 82, 16, kind of coming into your own. You could break away from the family a little bit. And heat of the moment was just on every, 4 times an hour, the local station was playing it. That's the song that really puts me there.
Sure. Tony, is there one particular summer that you look back when someone says, summer, you're just like, oh, that was the one?
Yeah, I go back. The summers were the impromptu get-togethers. You'd meet up with the chicks and your buddies.
Sure.
And we'd go to Lake Nokomis.
Okay.
And play Frisbee, and Steely Dan was the summer music.
Frisbee and Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Clothing optional.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Candice, is there any particular summer, any particular memory, any is there one that jumps out to you that for the rest of us will be like no recollection of the summer of 2006 at all? I was having kids, I was working. But is there one particular, or is summer just all a beautiful menagerie of kaleidoscope unicorns and lollipops for you?
Since we've talked about it, I just feel like I'm thinking about bad things that have happened in the summer. And I don't want to think like that because it's the summer solstice. So
no. Well, no. It's early in the solstice. Get the bad thing out of the way.
Cleanse.
Share your pain with us. Drop it right here on the table, and then we'll move on.
Well, I feel like I went to camp a lot and didn't have a very good time.
Uh-oh.
I went to horse camp once.
Okay.
And I had this really, really evil pony named Yankee, and he was so mean. He hated me. He bucked me off like 3 times.
Really?
One time I flipped over his head.
Wait, you got bucked off a pony and got back on the pony?
Yeah, he was my pony. That's what horse camp is. I can't just abandon him.
Are you assigned? You were assigned
I was
a
assigned
pony? Okay.
A demon.
What kind of sadistic horse camp says, Candice, take Yankee, and after the second time he throws you, they're like, Candice, that's your pony. Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, so I don't really like horseback riding anymore. But
okay. Yeah, that checks out, honestly.
I feel like, I don't know. Summertime has always been difficult for me because I'm, very fair-skinned and it's hot and, I don't know.
Okay, but are we done? Are we done cleansing the negativity?
Yeah, I'm good. I feel better now.
Okay, so you haven't been on a horse in a while. No. And the goats don't buck you.
No, I can't ride a goat.
You don't buck the goats.
No.
They climb on you. You're like, stay on board, bud. This is fine.
The goats buck you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, is there any particular summer song, Candice, from the horse summer? Let's just finish this up.
Okay.
You're getting thrown off a horse multiple times. Was there a certain song of that summer?
Yeah, probably "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. That was a big one.
All right, I'm gonna make a point to hear that one of these days.
My soundtrack was very different than yours when I was a young kid.
Well, that would also check out. That makes perfect sense. This is the longest day of the year. It's the ultimate summer day. I'm excited about it. It's a beautiful day so far. It's going to be hotter than hell out there later today, though. Apparently so. Air quality concerns for those who have maybe some issues. But otherwise, you know what? It could be worse. It could be raining, and it's not gonna. So let's have a good summer day. What do you say, guys?
Let's get after it. Half a pack of cigarettes, they said yesterday, if you were outside for more than 2 hours, you smoked half a pack of cigarettes.
Okay. I hadn't heard that.
This morning. I just read that in the Star Tribune this morning.
Then with that, it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. We start off with sort of a odd love nugget. Julianne Hough has once again reiterated that she is gay, been gay. But she reportedly dated Ryan Seacrest for 3 years. Some of Hollywood's gay community say, is Ryan Seacrest gay? It's the time that he come out. Mm-hmm. Ray is also a regular at LA's top gay bars. He's reportedly dating a model named Aubrey Page, but there's no public dating history about her. We don't know anything about her. I mean, I don't know. No big deal. I have a son that's gay. But some in Hollywood are just asking, where's the pride if he is? If he's not, fine. If he is, and he's not saying anything, is he worried about his image? That story's been around for years.
Sure, yeah. And my reaction's always been the same. Huh?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
More people are asking about it now, and I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, it's he's going to show up and he's going to do what he does. I mean, Ryan Seacrest is he's a really talented guy, I guess, and a lot of people like him. And who he likes is his business.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm just a messenger here.
I hear you. Hey, I'm not shooting the messenger.
Hey, most expensive celebrity engagement rings. I love this story.
Okay.
Of current stars, Mariah Carey's $10.1 million engagement ring given to her by billionaire James Packer, which is really interesting since they broke up. I don't know if she kept the ring or not.
Of course she did. Come on, it's Mariah.
Interesting, of the top 10 most expensive celebrity engagement rings, Jennifer Lopez's name comes up twice in the top 10. Number 9, for the $4.1 million ring she got from Mark Anthony.
Okay.
And number 7, the $5.3 million ring she got from Alex Rodriguez.
Well, it just goes to show all that money on the ring. You're destined to. It's a recipe for disaster.
I know, but the 2 all-time most expensive engagement rings. Number 2, Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
Okay.
Her ring given to her by Aristotle Onassis. The current value of that ring is $21 million.
Checks out.
However, the most expensive engagement ring ever. Want to take a guess who it was?
I'm going to say it was Elizabeth Taylor on her 9th husband.
Grace Kelly.
Oh, okay.
By Prince Rainier from Monaco.
Right.
Winston Jewelers has that ring and says it's worth $37 million.
Well, I don't know. What am I supposed to say to that? $37 million for an engagement ring.
I paid $2,500 for Cheryl's ring. I mean, I don't know what the hell.
The truth is, I have no idea what I paid for my wife's ring, but we're still married. We're happy.
That's good, and it probably wasn't $37 million.
It was not that at all, Mike.
No. There you go. Is it true Harry's wife, Meghan, wanted to be the face of Dior? They were actually in conversation. She suggested that she be called the Duchess of Dior.
Oh, for God's sakes. Of course it's true.
The London Mirror suggested that they call her the douchebag of Dior.
Well.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Hey, what about now the reports that she didn't even conduct her podcast interviews?
I know. Complete phony.
The ill-fated podcast on Spotify, they only put up 12 episodes. And the story is that she had other people do the interviews, and then she piped in her own questions.
Milli Vanilli.
Whew.
This is a Milli Vanilli deal. By the way, Dior Pasadena on Meghan.
Well, yeah, I would imagine they did.
It is true. There was actually a family intervention asking the senior member of the family, 70-year-old Rod Stewart, to retire. They want him to retire and make more time for the family. They worry about Rod's health. He had to cancel a couple of tours, dates. His medical problems have included thyroid cancer, prostate cancer, vocal cord nodule removal, and other problems. Rod sat through it and then said, "Forget about it."
Yeah, good luck. The rooster ain't sitting still.
Rod's United States tour starts July 29th in Sparks, Nevada.
Of course.
And finally, John Goodman, who has lost 200 pounds. 200 pounds!
Wow.
Says that he never felt better, and he will never, ever play the fat, funny guy again. He says he only wants to do serious roles now that he's no longer the fat, funny guy. Any word on how he did that? That's a lot of weight, boy. He was losing a lot of weight, and then COVID came, and he went completely, stopped everything. Worked out and ate something like 250 calories every other day or something.
Jeez.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
There you go. Everything going good, Minneapolis, St. Paul?
Everything's just fine here. It's the summer solstice. What do you got? We got 36 scheduled for today, Mike. Is that what you're going to be doing? You'll be over at the Riviera, just setting course records. I'm going to go 18, and boy, the 6th hole yesterday though, I had a quad. I shanked 2 balls in the lake from about 25 yards. I don't know what the heck was going on there. Hey, I'm sure you've played that little pitch and putt in Studio City a million times, yeah?
I have.
Man, that's some good star watching. You see some serious celebs out there at the range.
You know, many years ago, I was just a kid. I was like 18, 19 years old. And I went to Rancho, which is right across the street from Sony. Mm-hmm. And Jack Benny teeing off in front of me.
Jack Benny, wow.
He was really old then. He was really old.
Yeah.
They go, Jack Benny's playing in front of you. I go, I got to hit into him just so I can get close and say hi.
Hell yeah, you did.
Yeah. Hey, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Right on. Thanks, Mike. In Studio City, which is in the Valley in Hollywood, or in Los Angeles, just north of Hollywood, there's a little par 3 golf course there, on Whitsett, the Studio City golf thing. And I played there in 1990. I was wearing black jeans and a black T-shirt and snakeskin boots, and I walked 9 holes on a par 3. Looked like a complete douchebag. But I was like, yeah, I'll go hit some golf balls on a par 3. And I didn't have time to change, and, of course, I didn't have any other clothes to change into. But I saw at the driving range on the same day in 1990, so think about how power-packed this was, Jack Nicholson and Sylvester Stallone.
Wow,
not bad.
In 1990, that's 2 of the titans at that moment, and I was like, man, this is LA's nuts. Like, I'm out here playing a golf course in snakeskin boots, and no one's yelling at me, and Jack Nicholson's over there, and just working a 7-iron like there was no tomorrow. That's fantastic. The good old days.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you what. It's summer. We're going to look back on some of the good old days. On the Facebook page, the KQRS Facebook page, what are some of your greatest summer memories? And I noticed a couple people had commented about cousins. Man, aren't cousins the best? Like summer, that's when you see your cousins all the time. For my family, it would either be driving to Michigan, or the Michigan folks would be driving to either Maryland or Kentucky, depending on where we lived. And I read somewhere recently, and I'd never heard this before. So they said, your cousins, that's your siblings without the baggage. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like, and it dawned on me one day, my cousins aren't actually the coolest people in the world. I just thought they were.
Yeah.
You know, because you saw them once a year, you had the same last name. You weren't around long enough to argue or fight. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they're a novelty, nothing but fun.
Isn't that weird? I don't have any cousins.
What? Really?
Isn't that weird?
Well, it explains a lot. Oh, I'm sorry, Candice. No, that is weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, darling.
It's okay.
You got a lot of good friends.
Yeah.
You know, you got a lot of those people you chose, and that they're still in your life. I mean, that class of 09 still, you guys still hit that Twins opener every year. You know that's a fact. Hey, as long as we're looking back, how about a history lesson?
Today, on this day,
nothing happened. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. So what happened?
What is it, Steve?
In the world of sports history, on June 21st, 1988, the Lakers won their second straight NBA title. They beat the Pistons in 7. This was a huge deal at the time because it had been decades since anybody had won back-to-back titles. This was the end of the Lakers' run, 5 rings in 9 seasons. They were the team of the 80s. But after this, the floodgates opened. The Pistons went back-to-back. The Bulls then won 6 out of 8. Around those 2 three-peats, the Rockets went back-to-back. And then, of course, lately we've had the Warriors with their run. But there was a golden era of the NBA called the 80s where nobody went back-to-back for years. It was a dogfight every single postseason. And, well, I'll be honest with you, kind of miss it. I like it when different teams win all the time.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candice, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, June the 21st. The summer solstice is upon us. Happy summer. I mean, it's felt like summer for quite a while, but it's officially summer. So that know-it-all jerk, your friend who says it's not summer yet, well, they can't say that anymore because it's now summer. It's the longest day of the year. On the KQ Facebook page, share some of your greatest summer memories. If you want to call or text the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and text line 651-989-ROCK, you can do that as well. The summer has been up and running around here for weeks now. And we're all in pretty good moods, although we walked in this morning and Candice said, it's summer solstice. You have to be in a good mood. You have to set your intention. It's really important for the rest of the summer, so it's all smiles. It's like Fantasy Island. Smiles, everyone. It's summer. And the plane is on its way in. And here's something that puts a smile on people's faces. Beloved local brands. We saw an article, the most loved consumer brands by state. As someone has basically algorithmed or categorized or whatever the word is to discuss, to explain how people look at tweets. People go to Twitter to complain all the time. People get on Twitter rarely to praise. It's more of a, I'm going to air my grievances type of vibe. But people were looking at all these brands across America based on tweets, customer service type of tweets, and they came up with, here are the most beloved local brands for every state. And I'm thinking, okay, Minnesota's got a lot of very famous, iconic brands.
Yeah.
Who's got a problem with Spam? That's probably number one. And then I thought, well, maybe Green Giant, because I love that Giant myself. Yeah. I'm a big fan of canned vegetables, always have been. Yeah. And then I'm thinking, well, hang on, Targets are everywhere. I've been shopping at Target forever. I'm just going down the list off the top of my head, which is probably the most limited as far as knowledge of Minnesota brands goes on this morning show. And then I look and I'm like, oh no, it's none of those. Minnesota's most beloved local brand. I had to Google it. Maurice's.
So did I.
Who's Maurice?
You guys don't know Maurice's?
Who's Maurice and what are they up to?
The lead singer, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Am I thinking of the wrong band?
Is it a clothing store?
It's a clothing store. Well, okay, come on, Candice, back off. It's a women's clothing store.
Would you respect any man that knows what a Maurice's is, really?
Sorry.
I don't respect any man.
You don't respect any man anyway, yeah.
Yeah, you could have cut that one off after the word man. Maurice's women's clothing, a company founded in Duluth, tops the list. So, Candice, are you an experienced Maurice shopper? And do you like the brand?
I used to go when I was younger.
Good people there.
Yes, younger.
Doing what they can. Pleasing the customer base. Congratulations, Maurice's. You are the most beloved local brand.
Sorry, General Mills, Hormel Foods,
yeah,
Land O'Lakes,
all those people we've been feeding all these years.
Best Buy.
How about the fact that Greyhound Bus, it's considered the birthplace here. I'm reading this. Minnesota's Iron Range has a claim. A lot of people don't realize this. The birthplace of American inner-city bus transportation, the Greyhound Bus.
Yeah, people trying to get out of the Iron Range.
I guess so, but that's kind of a cool one to me. Okay, I knew Green Giant. I knew Spam. I didn't know Land O'Lakes. For some reason, that's even more impressive to me.
Yeah. Land O'Lakes.
Grew up in a Land O'Lakes house. That was the butter of choice for Imelda Gorman.
Right.
Cool.
Salted, of course.
Polaris.
Polaris.
Oh, is that the snowmobiles and stuff?
Snowmobiles, side by sides. Of course, now they have the Indian motorcycle brand as well, and many of them.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but no. It's all about Maurice's. It's all about Candice getting a nice summer top. I guess. I don't know what the hell does that even mean? A summer top. Taylor Swift is coming by your spin class this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm having a all-themed Taylor Swift spin class if anyone wants to come out there.
And you invited Taylor herself.
I messaged her about it. Yeah, I said
That's
she could
great.
come for free. I'll let it slide.
Don't post any photos till she's left. I mean, come on, give the girl some space. Our friends in Wisconsin, most beloved brand off the top of your head. I literally thought they were going to say the Packers. That's a brand, I guess.
Yeah.
No. And by the way, also, the second thing I thought was Oshkosh B'gosh, which I assume is actually from Wisconsin.
Yeah. I immediately went to Miller Beer,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, hey, that's kind of a big one, too.
Some kind of cheese.
Yeah, right.
Kohler.
You gotta love it. Just driving out through Wisconsin as we did over the weekend. I just love it. You gotta love a state. There are just big billboards that just say cheese.
Yeah,
that's
I like that.
Just cheese.
Sorry to our dear friends at Leinenkugel, didn't top the list. Play School, number one. Play School.
Mm-hmm.
I was close when I went Oshkosh B'gosh as a parent of former small kids. No shortage of Oshkosh B'gosh overalls going through the Gorman household.
Cute.
Hand-me-downs and then a couple of our own, and then those were handed down. But yeah, that was a strong one to me. I spent 13 years of my life I lived in the state of Georgia, and the most beloved brand from the state of Georgia, a hometown brand, Moe's Southwest Grill. Is anyone familiar with Moe's? It's a burrito and taco joint. Let me say one thing right now. With apologies to my daughter, Marley Gorman, who at the age of 8 said, if I ever get my car, my license plate will be I Heart Moe's. Okay? I hate Moe's more than any brand I've ever experienced in my life.
Why? Why is it so horrible?
Well, A, the food doesn't taste good, but even worse. Okay, here's the thing about Moe's. They had a whole shtick in all of their restaurants for years. They would only play music They played rock music at Moe's, but only by artists who either the artist was himself dead or he was from a band and someone in that band had died.
Weird.
And I guess that was their way of paying tribute. But you'd walk into Moe's and you would hear Led Zeppelin, or you would hear the Beatles, or you would hear Otis Redding, or you would hear any number, but the Allman Brothers, and you'd be like, "Oh, I love this song," and then you'd go, "Oh, that's right, someone's dead from this band."
Wow!
And then they had a whole thing called Dead Ringers, a competition where if you looked like a famous dead musician, you'd get a free meal.
Oh.
And
Wow.
it just used to annoy the living daylights out of me. And then on top of that, talk about getting your themes mixed up. They named their food after, like, a burrito with steak wasn't called a steak burrito. It was called a Joey Bag of Donuts. I'm like, what? They had all these weird names for all their food from movies.
They're just trying to be a little too clever.
It was
Yeah,
it was
a little
all
too
this,
ever-
it was
yeah.
everything. It's like, what are you trying to be here? But anyway, so I had this whole thing where it just annoyed me. It just really annoyed it annoyed me to no end.
Damn Moe's.
And then I was in a Moe's, and I was in a Moe's once, and then I heard I heard my own band, the Black Crowes, and I was like,
boy.
did I just miss an email? Did someone? And I realized, well, it was an Otis Redding cover, and Otis Redding's dead, but they were playing our version of it, and I was like, this is bothering me. So anyway, that's just a chance for me to let the world know that all these years later, I still can't stand Moe's.
F Moe's.
It's just always annoyed the living daylights out of me. However, I also, of course, grew up in the state of Kentucky. Woodford Reserve, my bourbon of choice, number one most beloved brand in the state.
Yeah.
So that made me feel pretty good.
That's a good one.
So, again, just to recap, not going to go to Moe's. I'll take some bourbon from Woodford Reserve. I'll stop by a Maurice's, pick up something for the wife. It'll be a good day.
Mm-hmm. We've already covered Liney's.
South
that's
Dakota,
right.
Zep.
Yeah, I
South
don't
Dakota.
know what the hell's going on over there. Dactronics?
Dactronics. What
Sounds
in the
cool.
hell is Dactronics?
Making robots, man. We're invading Minnesota. We're going to take it out. Just giant
God.
AI robots, war robots.
Are these?
No.
Are, I thought you were going to say these are robots that were designed to make hay, so you didn't have to anymore.
Too late. Who needs them now? Yeah, no, Dactronics. What do they make? Billboards or something?
Okay, fair enough.
Scoreboards, that kind of fancy stuff. I've never heard of them before. Just a big tech company that owns the state now.
All right. Well, all right. This is just fascinating to me. I look around the whole country, and I've heard of very few of these brands,
Right.
Which checks out because we're talking about local brands. But I've traveled a good bit. No, nothing. I'm completely in the dark here.
A lot of them are odd.
Yeah, a lot of them. New York goes Calvin Klein. Although I like Vermont. There's a company called Darn Tough Vermont. They make socks, and that's your number one.
Isn't
That
Ben and
works.
Jerry's Vermont?
They are.
They
They
didn't
are.
make
Very,
it.
maybe
All
they're too divisive. You know what I mean?
They're
Right.
political, yeah.
Like you got political or just some of the crap they put in ice cream. I mean, there's been some Ben and Jerry's. I'll have a bite and I'll be like, what am I chewing?
Yeah,
This is
they're
awful.
Running out of ideas.
Yeah,
Well, gritty.
you're literally putting like breakfast cereal on ice cream and calling that fresh. Come on, not buying it. Not buying it at all. Did you want to say something, Candice?
No, I was just sorry. I got a little sidetracked. I was looking at some funny photos from our eventful weekend this
Oh, yeah.
weekend.
Oh,
And,
really?
We have a caller, Brian from Chippewa Falls, wanted to call in and talk about his favorite summer memory, which was this past weekend.
Oh, well, right on, Brian. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. You guys are pretty tight on your set down there.
Oh, what, the Bagmen, you mean?
Yeah.
The little
Rocking it.
Bagman gig over at Leinenkugel on the weekend. It was kind of tight, and except for all the moments when it wasn't at all. But, that's okay. That's how it
Well, you got
goes.
to remember now, I got there at 9:55 waiting at the gate to open up, and the beer was running at 10 o'clock. So
That's a good
everything
day.
was sounding tight by 4 o'clock in the afternoon,
Well, yeah, no, the key. I found the key to a lot of musical success is give people 6 hours of drinking time before you start the show.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 21st. Happy Summer Solstice. We're all in good moods today because Candice told us we had to be in good moods. We're setting our intention for the rest of the summer with smiles, everyone. Smiles.
You'll smile and you'll like it.
I feel great today. I feel healthy. I had a good night's sleep. I've been regular as of late, which is always important.
It is.
Lucky.
There's a lot of
Lucky. Someday.
Lucky. A lot of water, keeping myself hydrated, doing my best with that. And on those days when you're not feeling regular, there's a million things you can go get at the store. Any market, the corner store usually has at least one option. But, off the top of my head, if I'm scanning in my brain, Metamucil,
Get a pen. Hold
Console,
on. I get a pen.
Citrusel, come on. There's all these things you can get if you want to, if you need a laxative, if you will, some fiber. You want to add some fiber to your diet. It always helps. If you just want a stool softener, they say get some mineral oil in you. Whatever you got to do. Sometimes occasionally, what's that?
No, I was just going to say, sometimes it's just about sitting correctly on the toilet.
That's also very true. Also very true. Elevate the feet.
You should show me the.
Elevate the feet off the floor. Get a different angle going. There's a lot of things you can do. Yeah. You can cram an eel up your six. There's so many things. I'm sorry. Eel. It's an old wives' tale. It's the kind of thing that certain people in certain parts of the world still think helps. Yeah, this is awful. By God, but it's real. There's a gentleman in a village in eastern China who thought he'd go with the old wives' tale, the old folklore, that if you were finding yourself irregular, by which I mean if you were constipated, just get a live eel and work its way up in through the outdoor, I think is what that's called.
God.
He was quite constipated. The problem with that is the eel, a live eel, it worked his way on in there, bit a hole in the man's colon. He was rushed into surgery.
Oh, yeah. Well, it got all the way into his abdomen. Yeah. Well, you would feel, I swallow a piece of candy too fast, and I can feel it going all the way down. Can you imagine all the way up into your, and then chewing through into the abdomen. By the way, this was not... I would bet good money, not a constipation wives' tale kind of thing.
You think this was just a guy looking to get his kink on?
Listen, no matter East China, drink some contaminated water. Get a parasite. There's a million options here that we can go with before I think, okay, we'll stick the live eel up the butt. And we know that this is, having done the KQ Morning Show for too many years now, I know that this is also a fetish around the world, the old eel in the body kind of thing. There's a whole genre. Google eel porn and then get back to me about this whole wives' tale about constipation relief.
Specifically an eel.
I'm going to come right out and say I'm not going to Google eel porn. Yeah. That's never going to happen.
I've already done it for you. I'm texting you some pictures now.
How big are they?
Well, this one was 8 inches long.
I mean, as if it weren't difficult enough to be a slimy creature in this world.
Right.
And now, what's this guy doing with me? No.
Well, it's his fault. He's the perfect size. I mean, it's the perfect width. This eel.
Oh, the eel was asking for it.
Guess who's looking at eel porn and getting a little excited?
Yeah.
The closest thing, the only thing but never mind. I can't.
Oh, come on.
It's just awful.
Come on now.
No, I don't even know where to start. It's like I'm looking at a giant sandwich and I'm like, where do you even bite into this thing? It's tough. Anybody else, when you're at a restaurant and you open up that ketchup bottle and it won't come out, you know what? I put a French fry in there.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
Not an eel?
I don't do an eel, and I don't use the knife either, because I think, hey, the French fries probably, at least it's a food stuff, and I'll go up in there. Right. Why I thought of that in this story is beyond me.
Isn't there that secret spot, though, you're supposed to smack?
Right on the 57. Yeah. You tap it with the knife. And it does work, except then people look at you and go, stop slapping that glass bottle with a knife, you jerk. Because, God, that hurts the ears, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But that's just one way to handle this. Again, I'm going to go right back to just get some fiber. Just work a little more water into the day. Maybe get a salad occasionally.
Right.
Yeah. Fun fact, I'll just go ahead and share. Got a little something I called roadblock on tour one time. About a week of constipation, almost.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just
That's
brutal.
tough.
I don't know if it's stress or if it was just all the cheese, whatever it was.
Yeah.
To the point where I sat out the encore because I was cramping so badly.
Oh, how did you bust the dam open?
Just finally, through the grace of God, and one fateful day in Jacksonville, Florida, the levee broke and all was returned to normal.
No, but you didn't try did you try the laxatives?
Yeah, I got some of that Metamucil, which I found to be, I guess it's mostly just sugar and some orange powder, and then basically it was like Tang. I think I must have, maybe it was Tang, and I thought it was Metamucil. Eventually, I mean, we're going back over 30 years.
Yeah.
Things got back to normal, but I made sure to never allow anything to go that long again.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're young and living the dream.
Right, out there on the road, think you're invincible.
Crazy things can happen, but there is a lot of late night pizza on the road, and I always blamed it on that. I just figured, hey man, I'm getting off stage, I'm drinking my weight in beer, and I'm just knocking 6 slices of cheese pizza down. These things are going to happen.
Yeah, I got a lot of cheese in Wisconsin on my way home. I ate almost a whole bag of cheese curds.
Is that true?
It is true.
Wow.
It's been a rough couple days.
Been a rough couple days.
But
okay,
worth
I'm gonna say this again, Candice. Fiber is your friend.
Yeah.
Let's not go to the animal kingdom for help.
If you drink enough of that liney beer with the cheese, it'll just keep flushing. Just gotta hydrate with some good hops.
But hey, Candice, if you're looking for more cheese, if you're looking for cheese pizza, specifically Domino's, you ever heard of that? They've been making pizza for a while.
Domino's.
They've got a new service. Check this out. Sorry?
Domino's.
Domino's?
That's what I call it.
Is that true?
Well, that's not
that's it.
respectful.
Sure,
Pizza
when we're
slut.
in 3rd grade.
Hey, we were talking about summertime memories, talking about, going back in the old school days, things that trigger a memory. And I just had a memory. There used to be a thing Domino's had. They had a pizza called the Price Destroyer. And it was like it was their garbage pizza. It was everything, every topping they had. And in the early 80s, you could get a large for like $18.
No.
And that same pizza right now, it's like $14.
Yeah.
Like, what? Taco Bell, the same. Taco Bell's like, they haven't raised their prices. And all I'm thinking is, my God, what are they doing to this food to keep the prices down all these years later? Was it actual real food back in the day? It must have been.
Yeah, it might have been. Now they're just using the cardboard boxes with sauce and cheese
I think
on
so.
it. Yeah. What about that little Domino's gnome? Is he still around?
I haven't seen him in a while. But Domino's does have a new service called Pinpoint Delivery. If you have the Domino's app, you can order a pizza. You don't have to give an address. You just drop a pin on where you are.
Brilliant.
Like, you can be at a park. You can be sitting on a park bench and order a pizza to be delivered to exactly where you are. You can be walking lakeside and say, I'd like a pizza delivered here. Drop a pin on the app, and they will bring it to you wherever here is. You could be at the beach, on a crowded beach, and order this bad boy. On the list of what could go wrong, I just as an old school prank caller like myself, I mean, I guess if you have the app, they have your credit card information, they know who you are. You probably have to have a profile established. But this just sounds like what could go wrong, what couldn't go wrong. Mm-hmm. How far away is the guy going to park? How's he going to actually find you? How easy is it to go, I didn't order a pizza. What are you talking about? I mean, I don't know. This just seems like you're going a little bit too far. Who's actually going to take advantage of it more than once?
Well, the pranksters are going to be out there, and they're going to be like, let's go to the, just some tough, difficult place to get to, climb up to the top of a tree and drop a pin or something. Right,
that's
exactly.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make it difficult.
Out in the middle of a lake somewhere.
Maybe you're at a Twins game.
Yeah, at a Twins game and get Domino's delivered, yeah.
Maybe you are being processed at the county jail. I mean, there's places you can be with a phone and still make this order that's going to make it hell for the delivery guy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we call Domino's a hoe. She can just come anywhere, anytime.
Thank you. I
we
completely forgotten why
plugged into that.
To go back and say, why in the world is it Domino's?
That was for Richfield.
That's a little Richfield shout out?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Sparty. Okay, how about this? A plane in Argentina on May 21st was heading to Miami, from Buenos Aires to Miami. That's a long flight. That's an international flight. 270 passengers and the crew on board when a voicemail comes in to an airline worker, and a little voice in an audio message says, tell the little captain that we put 3 bombs on the Miami flight. Check the airplane because it's going to blow up in 1,000 pieces. This is not funny. It's not cool.
Damn.
A legitimate bomb threat called in to a specific flight. All 270 passengers and the crew were immediately taken off the plane. Of course, bomb squads and emergency response teams hunted for the explosives. The airline lost apparently $1 million in all of the fees that immediately build up when you don't push away from that gate and when you empty a plane and reboard it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Long story short, this was not a real bomb. It was a bomb threat. It was phoned in by a flight attendant. Why did she do that? Well, she'd broken up with her boyfriend, another flight attendant, and she found out that he was dating a new woman who was a passenger on that flight. And the two of them, the male flight attendant was working the flight to Miami. He put his new girlfriend on the plane so they could get a Miami getaway together. The ex, in a jealous rage, phoned in a bomb threat.
Oh, wow. She taught him.
She certainly did. You want to make it worse? She phoned it in on her daughter's phone.
Oh, yeah.
Real good thinking. Even if you turn off your caller ID, guess what? The cops can find out who made that call.
Right. Well, maybe she should have stuck with the story. It wasn't me. It was that little shit right there.
She probably did try the way this goes. By the way, this is, in case you're wondering, this is a woman who worked for the airline for 24 years. She's been fired from the airline, of course, and she's facing 6 years in prison if found guilty. They have her voice. They have her daughter's phone as being the person who made the call, and they have her daughter who texted the mom after this all went down. I can't believe you would do this to me. I want you out of my life.
Well,
it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get the not guilty plea out of that one. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, her life was over the moment he decided to take another woman to Miami. So she had nothing to live for.
Yeah, clearly. That's it. You're not your daughter. That's
Hell
for sure.
hath no fury, man. Just people that just absolutely lose their minds when they break up. I've had some heartache. I remember, I think I do remember one time breaking up and feeling something. And
one time.
Yeah.
I felt something.
I did. I think I felt it might have been gas. I'm not sure. But people just absolutely lose their mind because a person doesn't love you. Jeez, man. I just don't understand that concept.
It's a little tough. I broke up I dated a girl in college for about 3 years, and when we broke up, I remember I went from a state of devastation to, oh my God, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. Like I was waffling back. I was a ping pong ball for a couple days.
Yeah.
And then it settled down. That was the last actual real breakup I had. I had some weird. I was dating girls for a brief period of time, and then it got really weird and crazy, and it was just a relief. But an actual breakup, I can tell. I mean, I was 21 the last time it happened.
Yeah,
man. I guess I should just keep my mouth shut. Candice, do we have a caller?
Yes, we have Matt from Apple Valley.
Matt, good morning. What's happening, brother?
Good morning, everybody.
What's on your mind?
So thinking about the Domino's app, it would have came in handy for a friend of mine back in '91, but he made it work anyway. We were in high school. Playing JV basketball, and a few of us were not getting minutes, so, not very good.
Right.
And he said, I'm kind of getting sick of this. I heard about this thing happen. I'm going to order a pizza to the bench during a game.
Okay.
And sure enough, we had a good crowd, too. All of a sudden, there's a Domino's guy standing at the door, and Mark, we'll call him, stands up, puts his fingers up, walks over there, pulls money out of his basketball shorts, comes back, sits down, opens the box up, starts tearing in, offers a piece to another player. He says yes. Offers a piece to me. I know my old man. Nope, not doing that one. I'll get my ass when I get home. But the coaches looked down the bench as if you were like strangling a poor puppy or something.
Well, sure.
It was horrible. One was beat red.
Yeah.
One looked like he was ready to strangle somebody, and we ran a lot for that. But well worth the laugh so many years later.
A smarter coach would have put him in the game immediately and sat there and eat the pizza while he was out trying to fumble around and play basketball.
Yeah, that would have been good. There's a word for a kid like your friend from where I come from, and that word is hero.
Yeah, that is a great move. Yeah, it's Spicoli, right?
Later. Thanks for all the time, guys.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah. Charles Barkley, when he was at Auburn University, They were playing at Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. Auburn versus Kentucky. And Barkley back in college was huge. He was called the round mound of rebound. This is a guy who lost like 40 pounds his rookie year in the NBA. He was a big, round dude, still dominant on the college basketball court. And during warm-ups, they delivered a Domino's pizza to the Auburn layup line. It was like a student prank. And Charles Barkley took that pizza, and he went over and sat down on the bench, and he ate a slice of pizza right before tip-off and literally went for like 39 points that night just to shove it in their face. Barkley was – to people who think Barkley's just that funny guy on TV, he was unstoppable on the court.
Yeah, he really was. All right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, we'll take a couple of callers. 9 and 2 is how we do it. 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Lyrics or Lies for a chance to win Bryan Adams tickets Monday, July 3rd at Xcel Energy Center. Prize provided by Live Nation. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candice, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Bryan Adams going to be at the Xcel Energy Center on Monday, July 3rd. Why don't we give away a few tickets? Why wouldn't we? Well, we're going to, and we're going to do that by asking a couple callers to play a game. Tony, what is today's game?
Well, what a fine idea to give stuff away.
Words and music.
The lyrics.
The lyrics. The lyrics.
The lyrics.
All lies.
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 These are all lies.
All lies!
Of course, lyrics or lies and Bryan Adams on the docket. So we're going to give you lines, and our listeners will just tell us, are those actual lyrics or are they not lyrics from Bryan Adams?
So it's a lyric from a Bryan Adams song or not. It is a lyric or it is a lie. Candice, who is contestant number 1?
Yeah, Julie from Scandia.
Julie, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Pretty good.
Great. Happy summer solstice. Are you ready to play lyrics or lies?
I certainly hope so.
Let's do it. Tony?
Here's your first one, love. Now it cuts like a knife, but it feels so right. It cuts like a knife, but it feels so right.
Lyric.
That is correct.
Yes, Bryan Adams' song Cuts Like a Knife, of course.
That's
very
kinda
good.
Creepy.
All right.
You just narrate it.
That's actually kind of true.
Yeah. Got to keep it robot-like.
1 for 1, Julie. Well done.
Number 2, my pulse racing, my head's in a spin. I need to see you, darling, because you're my oxygen.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's a lie.
I'm sorry, that is a Bryan Adams song called Oxygen.
I'm unfamiliar with that one myself.
Yeah.
What, are you going deep into the Japanese B-sides?
It's kind of obscure.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. All right, that's all right, Julie. You're 1 for 2. We're still in it.
Julie, there's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. Bryan Adams or not?
I'm going to say a lie. Oh,
Wait.
man.
Whoops, sorry.
Oh, no, you were correct.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. That is totally my fault.
Like that.
My brain is squirming like a toad.
Sorry for the buzzer. It's all organs for you right now.
No, the buttons are so close together.
You want the
I'm so
buzz, but not the buzzer.
Yes, and
That's
of course,
exactly right.
the door is Riders on the Storm.
All right, 2 for 3. We're back on track, Julie.
Next up, Jules. I'm serious as cancer when I say rhythm is a dancer.
I'm going to say a lyric.
Sorry, that's
Well, that's the wrong buzzer.
Oh, you're right. No, that is incorrect. That is a band called Snap with an exclamation point.
Oh, snap.
Rhythm is a dancer.
All right, 2 for 4.
All right, hon, here's your last one. Let there be guitar, drums, bass, piano. Let there be a kick-ass rockin' band. Let's go. Oh, yeah. All right.
Lyric.
Correct. That is a
Yes.
Bryan Adams song called Kick Ass.
All right.
I'm starting to sweat.
All right, Julie, 3 for 5. That ain't too bad. Sit tight. We're going to see how your competition does. Candice, who is contestant number 2?
We have Nancy from Wyoming.
Nancy. Nancy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. morning. I'm doing good.
Awesome. Are you ready to play lyrics or lies?
Yes.
Excellent. Tony, take it away.
Let's go, Nance. I got my first real 6-string, bought it at the 5 and dime, played it till my fingers bled. It was the summer of '69.
True.
Yup.
That's a lyric from Bryan Adams.
It's true.
Next one, and sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide.
False.
Also correct. Dan Hill.
Dan Hill.
Gross.
A theme to a dance I went to as a middle school kid.
Of course.
The theme was sometimes when we touch. That's good. Just put a bunch of middle schoolers on the dance floor and have that be the theme, and nothing could possibly go wrong.
That was the theme.
That
That's
was
hilarious.
the theme. Yeah.
Boing.
Yeah.
All right, Nance, next up. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya back here where we need ya? Yeah, we tease them a lot because we got them on the spot. Welcome back.
False.
Correct. That, of course, is the theme from Welcome Back, Cotter by John Sebastian.
John Sebastian.
Next
Love
up.
and Spoonful, John
Love and
Sebastian.
Spoonful, that's right.
Old Captain Harpsichord.
Next up, Nance.
Okay.
I want to be your cocktail when you're sipping. I want to be right there more than anything, I swear. I want to be your underwear.
False.
No, that is actually a Bryan Adams song.
I know. It doesn't sound Canadian, does it? He's awfully randy.
It's called Your Underwear.
Yeah.
I want to be your cocktail sipping. What was that?
Yeah.
I want to be your
cocktail
underwear.
when you're sipping.
When you're sipping.
Yeah. Not a huge hit.
Sounds like a Weird Al Yankovic
Yeah, it really does.
lyric to a Bryan Adams song.
I can hear an accordion right now in the background.
Here's your last one, Nance.
Okay.
Tinky, Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Po, say hello.
False.
Correct. That is the Teletubbies theme.
Right, but after that last lyric, I was with Nancy. I'm like, well, maybe.
Yeah, no
Was he-
kidding. All right. Well, it took a minute, but I appreciate taking the time to think that one through. That was the Teletubbies theme song. Nancy, that means you went 4 for 5. You are the winner today.
Yay.
Wow. Julie, 3 for 5. Great effort, but I'm sorry it wasn't quite enough. Nancy just came in on fire. Nancy will be seeing Bryan Adams Monday, July 3rd at the XL Energy Center. Whew, there's going to be fireworks a day early over in St. Paul. Congrats, Nancy.
Great. Thank you so much.
You got it. That Bryan Adams gig I saw in Switzerland. So it was a summer. It was just a show, summer tour. I believe it was the Black Crowes, Lenny Kravitz, Bryan Adams, Aerosmith. That was the bill at a stadium.
Nice.
And I remember thinking, Bryan Adams, right before Aerosmith, like the crowd's going to want more of a rock scene, whatever. He came out. It was a 3-piece band. Bryan Adams played bass and sang, obviously, with a guitar player and a drummer. That was it. And they were all wearing white suits, and they were all playing white instruments. And it was like, oh, he's got a lot of hit songs, but then he just played every song for an hour. You knew everybody in the stadium knew every word, sang full voice. It was like a Beatles gig. I kid you not. And Aerosmith came out, and a sizable portion of the crowd had already left. Like Bryan Adams, the king of Switzerland. I've never seen anything like it.
I was drugged to one of his concerts back when I was taking music way too seriously, taking my rock way too seriously.
Of course.
Nose way up in the air. And but she really wanted to go see Bryan Adams. I was like, all right, gotta hope nobody sees me there.
Yeah.
I left with no voice. One of the best shows I've ever seen. I was just like, are you kidding me? That was awesome.
It's kind of amazing. You're like, oh yeah. There was another summer tour we did on a bill. This would have been a few years earlier, in 1995. And you're bouncing around Europe. You're on these festivals, and it's a very, very varied set group of artists usually. And we got to a gig, and America was on the bill. I was like, America? They're still playing? And same thing. They got on stage. They played for an hour, and I'm out there like, I'm singing Sister Golden Hair like it's my last day on earth. I was like, this is amazing. Awesome. Ventura Highway, all their songs. Don't get me started. Horse with no name. I'm losing my mind.
They still haven't named that damn horse.
No, they never have. They never needed to. But yeah, it's amazing when you just take, people have so many hits, you take them for granted. Then you see them all back to back, and you're like, holy smokes. Anyway, Bryan Adams is one of those guys.
For sure, yeah. We forget sometimes that we go to concerts really just to sing along. I don't know, maybe we do, but some of us, that have been hanging around, radio stations or in bands. Like I said, sometimes we overthink it. It's a pretty simple concept, play what we know and let's pump our fist and scream it at the top of our lungs.
I spent years of my life, to your point, overthinking it and losing that very sight, and then losing sight of that very thing. And then, honestly, the Bryan Adams gigs was one of those where I went, I got to rethink this whole thing I'm looking at here. Right. Summer '99. I'm like, I'm having more fun with a bunch of Swiss, dorks than I ever thought possible. It was great.
Maybe that's why Aerosmith's coming out with another greatest hits album. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
They've got here it is. Yeah, August 15th. I think it's being. Bless you.
Bless you, honey.
August 18th. Greatest hits being available. By all accounts, they're 15th.
15th greatest hits package?
I think so. No, I'm just kidding about that. But yeah, another greatest hits album coming out. And I thought, boy, haven't they done a couple already?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
It's a whole new audience.
Well, it's going to be one of those super deluxe limited edition, 44 CD kind of deals, probably.
If you want to hear the first 91 takes of Walk This Way, then Aerosmith has your back.
Oh, yeah. I've gone through some of that stuff with Led Zeppelin and bought a box set and went, okay, there's like 48 demo tracks on there. And I'm like, I can't wait to dig in. Nobody's a bigger fan. You get to like the fourth one and like, all right, I think I'm just going to put on two again.
The original reason, the first box set Led Zeppelin put out was 1989, and it was the remasters. They did a few of those in large part because their manager, Peter Grant, shortly after John Bonham died, the band said they were done. Peter Grant figured, well, the catalog's dead. I'm going to go to Atlantic. And he said, just buy us out. Give these guys one last big payout.
Yeah.
And Atlantic Records said, okay. And I believe it was $10 million total. Wow. $10 million. Wow. And a year later, this thing called CDs hit the market.
Oh, no.
And every Zeppelin record went platinum in America for 8 straight years.
Yeah, I remember.
8 straight years, all studio albums went platinum, and they were not getting paid on those.
Oh, my God. I had no idea because I remember when that was happening, and it was the biggest thing in the world. When they would drop a new CD, digitally remastered, it was, everything on the radio station stopped, and that's all we talked about.
Then all of a sudden, Jimmy's like, how about a box set, and I'm going to get these back. And he went, and then they reworked it. But the initial run through the 80s of CD sales, Zeppelin was not getting it.
Unbelievable.
They'd cashed in, and, hey, live and learn. There's always a new formatter on the corner.
You live and you learn.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 21st. That means it is Summer Solstice. That means it's the longest day of the year, and that means, well, you got more time to do stuff naked. Wednesday, June 21st, this is Naked Hiking Day.
Oh, yeah. I guess it depends where you hike, Yeah,
not Naked Biking Day.
Right.
Not Naked Liking Day.
Yeah.
Easy. Naked Hiking Day. Hiking enthusiasts all around the country and the world, apparently, are going to be out and about today in the buff.
But, a lot of times if you do that, you can get arrested. They call it cruising, I think, right?
They call it a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's funny. People who do hike naked say the key to a successful naked hike is preparation. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You got to bring water, extra sunblock, obviously, extra being the key word there. You need some bug spray probably. And it's a really good idea to have clothes because, of course, there are very few, if any, public hiking trails where nudity is allowed. So it's really more of a, it's funny. People that we had a guy who called in a few months ago from a nudist colony, nudist camp, and he was like, it's not about the titillation. It's not about sexuality. It's just about being free. But yet Naked Hiking Day sounds like you are trying to go for a little titillating because you're kind of sneaking in the public nudity.
Yeah.
You're not just saying, look, I'm doing all 4 miles of this loop around the lake and I don't care. No, it's not that. You're you're prepared to clothe up if need be. So this is a little different vibe to me. This is naked hiking is so, put some shoes on, cover the feet. Just to be safe.
Look
but the
out
rest
for-
of it, let her rip. Tony Lee is a man who's spent a lot of a good bit of your life naked in public.
Sure.
Any thoughts on naked hiking?
Well, it is about feeling free, but my first thought is to look out for the very sharp extended rocks as you extend.
Yeah. Honestly, what I thought about, having done some hiking, is the sticks, the twigs.
The twigs.
They're always sticking out, they're about waist high. You don't notice those little things, yeah.
Yeah. Candice, naked hiking, yay or nay?
Yeah, it sounds like it'd make hiking a lot more interesting for me.
Now, what actually determines hiking? Couldn't you just walk around nude? I mean, just a stroll, is that a hike? Why, do you have to be going up an incline to make it a hike?
In nature, first of all.
Yeah.
It's not a hike.
Trees on the street.
I think because they've designated it, I think the fact that it's designated naked hiking, they are thinking get out in the woods a little bit, get away from the city, go make it real. You know what I mean?
What about a park in the neighborhood?
A park in the neighborhood
amongst families.
Yeah, that's a walk in the park. We have a saying for that.
Tony, is there a specific park at a specific time today that you have in mind?
Yes, there are many right around my house.
Bare Ass Beach, I get that one.
Yeah, I really don't. Nudity as a general concept, all for it. It's great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, nudity and nature, it does scare me a little bit. I just way too many places for chafing and bug bites and sunburns and all kinds of things to go wrong. That's just me.
There is a picture of me in my group chat with my high school friends. We went to Glacier National Park. There is a picture in that chat of me mooning them, but it's not online, so don't even try to Google it.
Okay, so that's kind of like hiking, mooning.
Just my butt.
Just your butt. Let me ask you a question. Horseback riding nude, weird or not?
Horsehair. How?
That's what I'm thinking.
How abrasive is that?
You've got a saddle, but I guess if you just went bareback, but now we're getting into a whole different thing here.
Yeah, if you go bare ass bareback is what it's called. And speaking of which, Candice, you mentioned earlier in the show you went to a horse camp as a kid.
Sure did, Steve.
I'm assuming it was clothed, but you got thrown off a horse 3 times.
Yes, I had a very Yankee.
I literally almost said, what was his name? Rebel? That's so funny. It was Yankee. He threw you 3 times. And then, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, now we're moving on. We're not talking about, this was not a nude horse camp. You were a little kid.
Right.
You got thrown off a horse. And then a guy on Facebook, someone on the KQRS Facebook page asked if it was a specific camp, correct?
Yeah, Kirk got it right. He knew what camp I went to, but he's leaving me hanging and he's not telling me how he knew.
Okay.
Or why he knows. But but I decided to check the website out, and there's literally pictures of me on the website from 1997.
They still have photos from 97.
Are you crying?
No, I mean, you can't see my face, but I know it's me because I used to rock that outfit.
Please tell me you are airborne in at least one of those photos.
No, I'm just sitting there grooming one of the horses. That's when you had to clean the horse. You had to bathe the horse. It was the worst experience of my life.
Can you imagine going to a website and seeing a photo of yourself from 1997 that you didn't know was going to be there?
God. It's just wild. No one liked me, and I didn't have any friends, and my horse was mean to me. It was really scary.
Do you have a little Western outfit on?
No, I used to wear big white tees.
Big white tees.
Yeah.
That was it. Just a white t-shirt, blonde, just sunburnt.
Upset.
In traction from the 3rd throw off the horse that day.
Yeah.
That's crazy that he's like, was it this camp? And
I know.
First of all, a listener knew what camp it was. Something tells me that listener was at that camp.
Seriously.
He's been telling people for years, I was at horse camp with Candice Wheeler.
He's the one that spooked the horse that bucked you.
Oh, my gosh. I know. I got to know more. So, Kirk, give me a call.
Weird.
I got to go real quick back to Naked Hiking Day. Let's just go to Naked Lounging Around Day. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a completely platonic relationship? Say a roommate. Like if you have a roommate, couple guys, couple gals, guy and a gal, whatever. There's nothing going on between you, but you just walk around naked?
Yeah, no, not me, but we had one of those guys in the big house.
Yeah.
Like 8 guys living in the place. Stump, we called him, because he was shaped like a stump.
Okay.
And I guess he was Stump when I got there. Maybe there was another origin of that nickname.
Well,
but yeah, he just walked around naked all the time. We'd be like, dude,
Right.
seriously, honestly, hairy ass when you're.
Yeah.
That's always head high when you're on the couch. There goes the hairy ass.
I lived in a house. There was 4 guys there, but it was also a flop house, so there was always at least one extra guy on the couch. Sometimes there'd be 2. It was just a bunch of broke musicians in Atlanta. We had a house. 4 of us paid rent, and at least 6 people were there most nights. And there was one dude who wasn't one of the 4 guys paying rent, but he would crash there a lot. And so it wasn't even his house, and he slept naked, like on the floor with a throw.
No.
But I'd be in the morning. He'd just wake up and come out of the bathroom like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I'd be like, "Dude,
there it is.
What are you doing? Put a sheath up."
Right? Yeah.
You don't even pay rent. You can't walk around naked if you're just crashing here.
Yeah,
but he did all the time.
Definitely, if you're not paying rent, no naked. You've got to pay to take your clothes off in the house. Yeah.
I was threatened to a fight one time by a naked guy.
He threatened you while he was nude?
The conversation started, he had a sheet wrapped around his waist, and then in the middle of an altercation, it dropped, and he didn't change one thing about his attitude, and he was challenging me to a fight, and I was laughing. I said, You're naked. You can't beat me up naked.
No.
I was like, dude, I'm wearing boots. I will win this fight. Right. There's no way a naked guy can beat you up if you're wearing motorcycle boots. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I just couldn't freely swing away naked. I was
amazed at the guy. And looking back now, I realize he probably would have killed me. He was crazy enough to want to fight naked. But South Carolina, he was convinced that his girlfriends, it was local band days. This is a true story. Leave a club in Columbia, South Carolina, and 2 girls hopped in the van that we gave a ride home to. Like, that was it. It was literally like, where are y'all going? We're going to the whatever hotel. Can you drop us off? We live on the way. Like, sure. Like, no one's hitting on these girls. There was nothing weird about it at all. And we pulled up in front of a house on a cul-de-sac, and there's some people in the front yard, and one of the girls from our van got out. Her older sister ran down. She's like, "Who are these people? Who are you with? What's happening?" And it was like a big thing, like, "Oh my God!" And she said, "No, I saw their band. They're nice guys." And then the older sister's boyfriend just happened to be sitting in the front yard in a bedsheet, and he came down, and he was kind of muscle bound, and he got right in my face. The biggest person on the scene, he comes right up to me. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what you think you're doing." I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "Pitt, what are you talking about? Just drop someone off. What do you mean? What am I doing? I gave someone a ride home." And he kept going, and then in the middle of it, he's like, "If you know what's good for you, I swear I got half a mind to kick your ass." He was going, and in the middle of that, his sheet dropped, and I'm like, okay, nice. I guess I'd want to flaunt that too. He looked great. But I was like, dude, you can't fight me naked. I'll kill you. I'm wearing boots.
I can imagine he's in a romantic mood. He's wrapped the sheet around him to, greet her when she gets home.
I'm going to offend the honor of my girlfriend's younger sister. And if I have to do it naked, if my girlfriend's little sister has to see Big Jim and the twins, then by God, so be it.
Yeah, you're right. Anybody willing to fight naked is probably just crazy enough to be the person you don't want to fight with. That's what it comes down to.
I think
the craziest person usually wins the fight. Yeah. We did tackle a guy once in the backyard that was naked and came out of the house naked and just wickedly drunk. Just that crazy drunk. But we did use a sleeping bag. We unzipped a sleeping bag, and none of us wanted to tackle him naked. And he kept screaming, "Leave me alone! I'm naked! I'm naked!" That gives you a pass, or nobody's going to bother me because I'm naked. And maybe he just thought he'd get away with it, but he was just out of his mind, drunk. And
did you go low or high on the tackle?
I just piled on. I just dog piled. Yeah, somebody else took him down. And then he was kind of he was having a hard time keeping him down, so I just pounced on. Dog pile.
That's the ultimate. You know how when you tell yourself, don't say it, and then you say it? Yeah. The ultimate, don't touch it, you go to make the tackle, and your hand's going to go right to the guy's junk.
I know, right?
I didn't mean that. I swear I didn't mean it.
Right. Yeah.
Just you're right. How that would go.
He would wiggle out of there, and you'd try to grab a leg, and you would touch the coin purse. No. Who wants it? So you say you want to be a death investigator.
I've said it. If I haven't said it twice today already, I'm not awake.
Steve Gorman doesn't do it. You got to have a name like Barbara Butcher. Now that's a death investigator, and she's going to join us at 9 to talk about her new book, What the Dead Know. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candice, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, June the 21st. That is the day of the summer solstice. As we've been discussing, it's also Naked Hiking Day. It is not, however, Naked Radio Show Day.
Oh.
Put your pants on, Brian Zepp. No one agreed to host this show nude. It's not in my contract.
Oh, dang it.
Cannot convince me to do so.
All right.
In a few moments, we're going to be joined by a woman named Barbara Butcher, who has written a new book called What the Dead Know. Barbara Butcher, for years, was the New York City death investigator. Worked with the coroner's office. This is a woman who was on hand to determine cause of death for a great many years in New York City. And in the world of true crime mania that we now live in, this is a woman for whom true crime was literally her day-to-day occupation for decades. It is a fascinating read, and she will be joining us momentarily. In the meantime, let's go back to nudity.
Yes.
I mean, we got it.
I just got them back on. Now you want me to take the pants back off?
No. Subject matter.
Okay, gotcha.
As far as that goes. Okay, we've talked about Tony was a streaker at some time or another. I guess everybody has, on occasion, skinny dipped. Anybody not ever skinny dipped here?
Oh, I skinny dipped.
Yeah, sure you did.
Sure, yeah.
Candice, skinny dipping in the past, of course.
Yeah.
Weirdest place or most unexpected place you found yourself naked? Tony.
Well, you brought up the dip, Lake of the Isles, with my ex, and we were in the water there, splashing a boot, and a couple was strolling by, and the guy said, "Oh, honey, look at the ducks." And I just went, quack, quack. And they screamed and
fantastic.
ran.
Yeah. All right. Very, very good. I lost a bet, and I had to go streaking in front of the cheerleaders at school in 8th grade.
Very nice.
I didn't have to go I had to actually run around them. They were doing their practicing, and I had to encircle them. Naked
close.
except for my Adidas Gerd Mueller soccer cleats. That was not how I didn't see that coming when the day started.
That's awesome.
But that's how the day ended. An absolute nightmare for me. Zepp?
It was a skinny dipping related. I went skinny dipping over in Wisconsin, was on the motorcycle and with a lady. Mm-hmm. And when we got back out, someone had taken our clothes, boots, socks, everything. So it was the long ride back to St. Paul, both of us naked on my Harley.
Really?
And the worst part was the keys to the house were in my pants.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did get in through a window, but that moment when I was breaking into my own house naked was the moment I was absolutely sure that the police were going to show up. But
how long was the ride?
Well, we went over from Wisconsin in the, I'll just say the Hudson area to St. Paul. So it was a fairly long ride. We couldn't take the interstate.
That's what they call a hot minute.
Yeah. So we jogged down south, came up. It was a rather long ride because I didn't want to get on 94. I didn't want to be on the interstate. That's all lit up. Obviously, you're naked on on the interstate.
That was a wise decision.
She said she enjoyed the back seat though on the Harley naked.
Get your motor running.
We are now joined, as I mentioned a moment ago, by Barbara Butcher. Her new book, What the Dead Know, is out. It is beyond compelling. What the Dead Know: Learning About Life as a New York City Death Investigator. Barbara, welcome to the show. It is a pleasure to chat with you. And I got to start right here. Early in your recovery from with alcohol, you started in the medical examiner's office at the same time. Now that's two loads to be walking around with. Did that intensity of those things happening concurrently, did it actually make each one easier to maintain perspective on any level? If that makes sense.
Hi, Steve. First of all, hi, and thanks for having me on the show. Yes, it did, initially at least. Mm-hmm. When I was early in recovery from alcoholism, I needed a major distraction.
Right.
And being a death investigator certainly was the most absolutely majorest, if that's a word, it's not. But it was the biggest distraction I could ever have hoped for.
I kind of thought that might be the case. What led you there? What had you been doing previously that made you think medical examiner's office, death investigator, that might be something I'm also good at as well as interested in?
You know, I was working as a physician assistant, a PA in surgery, and then I was a hospital administrator, and I was bored to hell. And oddly enough, being an alcoholic is what got me the job at the medical examiner's office. They gave me career counseling services when I got into recovery, and that included all those personality tests that said what you should do. And my counselor said I should either be a poultry veterinarian or a coroner. And I said, well, I'll take the dead. And I don't care for poultry.
Yeah, right. That is.
He told me to call the person in New York City who I thought had the best job in the world. So I called the chief medical examiner. He had me come in for an informational interview. Very kind of him. And they wound up offering me a job as a death investigator. That was a dream come true.
Wow.
Because ever since I was a kid, I used to dissect little roadkill animals to see what happened to them. And it was always an interest of mine. I was always curious. I loved to investigate things.
Right. So, I mean, in this job, it's not just obviously murder. I mentioned that we're in a world where everybody's obsessed with true crime these days. This is not just murder, although you were on the scene for many a homicide. Ultimately, your job is, to what you just said, you're solving puzzles on a daily basis, I guess.
Oh, yeah, and it was fascinating. I mean, there's suicides, accidents, homicides, naturals, and unknowns. There were some cases where we just couldn't figure out what happened. But the homicides, of course, get the most attention because there's somebody running around out there doing bad things.
Were there homicides that turned out not to be homicides? Like, are there cases, I'm sure, where everybody said, oh, that's clearly what it is, and you were able to go, actually, hang on a minute.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was one where they called me to a building on the Upper West Side, a tenement. They said, Barbara, there's a guy at the foot of the stairs with a bullet hole in his head. And I walked in, and sure enough, there was a small hole right in the center of his head, and there were 22 shell casings, a small bullet, in the hallway next to him. And he stunk of alcohol. And I noticed that the wound in his head didn't have the typical abrasion ring of a bullet hole. Okay. Instead, it had kind of like a lacerated star-like pattern. And then I noticed that at the foot of the stairs, the building walls came to a corner, and they had those sharp stone moldings at the base. And sure enough, right on the corner of the stone was a little piece of flesh and some blood. I said, wait a second, guys. I think this man fell down the stairs drunk and hit his forehead right on the corner there. I don't think that's a bullet hole at all. And the cop said, yeah, sure, Barbara, but what about it on the floor? Well, we looked around, and this was one of those tenement apartments where the back door opened out onto an alleyway from this long hall. We went out there in that alleyway and saw a big target and realized that kids had been using this as a shooting gallery. They stood in the hall and fired 22 pistols out the back door into the target. So they had nothing to do with this guy's death at all. It was an accident, not a homicide.
Barbara Butcher is with us. Her book, What the Dead Know, Learning About Life as a New York City Death Investigator. I would imagine you do learn an awful lot about life. In order for you to do that job, though, there has to be, I'm assuming, some serious emotional detachment. Did that get easier or harder as the years passed?
Well, the detachment got easier because when you see horror one time after another and they start to pile up, you're absolutely right. In order to do the job, you have to detach your emotions so that you can focus your intellect on the puzzle before you. But in time, I learned that you can't just turn off one emotion. It's a switch that turns them all off. And so over the years, I became more and more detached and was unable to maintain my relationships for very long at all because I didn't feel anything. I was numb. And ultimately, that really, really destroyed me. And then came 9/11, and boy, that was a
that's
punch to the head.
Yeah, certainly. That's it's all ooh, wow, fascinating. And then 9/11 happens, and then all of a sudden, all the true crime fans realize, oh no, it's not just a neat story. It's actual. This is as big as it gets. I can't imagine. As much as you saw, nothing could have possibly prepared you for the scale of that situation. And you were, correct me if I'm wrong, you were at ground zero pretty much right away trying to help identify victims.
Absolutely. There's nothing in human experience that can prepare you for that kind of overwhelming, shocking destruction. And there's a saying that, one death is a tragedy, 1,000 deaths is a statistic.
Yep.
And that's not true. When you see people's death calendars, that say lunch with Jim, 12 o'clock, or a little photo of a family, you know that each of these pieces, these human remains that you're picking up, is part of a life, part of a universe, part of a network that connects us all. And that becomes very, very personal. That, I think 9/11 was really the punch to the heart for me.
Sure.
That made it all really, really difficult.
Barbara, I think, 9/11, clearly we know an awful lot about the families of the victims, and that's still something that it's a story that has been told and will forever be told. But even going back before that, the average death you found, I imagine you have brought the family members and loved ones great relief or at least clarity over the years. Was that something you were aware of? Was that rewarding in real time?
Oh yeah, I mean there's so little about the job that is rewarding because a lot of people get away with murder. But one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from my boss was that, Barbara, we don't work for the dead, we work for the families. And the families deserve and need answers as to how their loved one died. Did they suffer? What was it like for them? And they need justice. In the case of a homicide, you want to know that the person that did this to you, took away your loved one, is being appropriately punished. And if that doesn't happen, that leaves that family with endless grief that doesn't close. So if there was anything satisfying about the job, that was the most, I think, important thing, was that we did something for the families.
Barbara Butcher, the book, What the Dead Know, Learning About Life as a New York City Death Investigator, is available wherever you get books. Barbara, I can't thank you enough for taking the time, and thanks for your years of service, because I imagine that's an unquantifiable amount of peace of mind you gave to those families.
Oh, thank you, Steve. That's kind of you.
Take care. I cannot begin to imagine. And again, I say, like, my wife is a big true crime podcast listener. I find myself getting sucked in at times. But boy, it's one thing when it's just an interest of yours or a passing fad that everybody's like, oh, I love Dateline. It's fascinating. Boy, 20 plus years in New York City as a death investigator or, in that realm. And then to find yourself with count thousands of scenes, a lot of those actual homicides, and then to go through 9/11. What a life, and what an amazing thing. As I'm sure she struggled and carried around a lot of baggage from that, and probably forever will. But imagine how much peace she has brought to people for just getting the answers they could never have gotten elsewhere.
Really, and that's where you have to take that. And the fact that she was the first death investigator in Manhattan to last more than 3 months. And she's been doing it for years. In her bio, I'm reading the first to last more than 3 months, which that I immediately get. And then for her to make it her career, that's is a good way to put it. It's going to be intense, but I think I have to pick up that book now.
Yeah, I would say that's a given. Absolutely incredible. I need a little bit of a palate cleanse, Zep. There's a 100-year-old woman from Florida who's been posting online some advice for people. She's made it to 100. Her name is Mildred Kirschenbaum. Let's just hear a little bit of Mildred reminding us all how to make it a little longer in life.
I have friends who are 20 years younger, 15 years younger, and their attitudes are going to cause them not to survive to my age. Their attitude is I don't see my kids more than once a week, or the food I was served was cold. If the food isn't quite right, have an extra dessert. If you hear from your children once a week, they call you once a week, you call them once a week. Change your attitude. I try my best not to sweat the small stuff and to have a positive attitude.
Boom.
Atta girl, Mildred.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
There
how
it
you
is.
thought a Mildred Kirchenbaum would sound like, right?
Yeah, right. And we know it's really genetics, but still, sorry to ruin the
Central
moment.
casting.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's all about attitude, isn't it? All right, well, I feel like the palate is somewhat cleansed. We can move it in a 180-degree direction. Loons on the Lake Comedy Festival and the headliner, Jimmy Walker. Hold on, I haven't done this, honestly. I have not done this in at least 40 years. All right, hold on, I got to slap it. Dynamite!
Perfect.
Very nice.
Not really. Jimmy Walker coming up here with us at 9:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is June the 21st. It is the summer solstice. And in a couple of days, Jimmy Walker is going to be headlining the Loons on the Lake Comedy Festival on the Crooners main stage. And Jimmy Walker is on the horn with us right now. Good morning, Jimmy.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Everything is great on this end.
Great.
Happy to see that you're back in the Twin Cities Friday night. I got to ask you if it's okay, because I was unaware of this until recently. You were a vendor at Yankee Stadium as a kid, right?
Well, for a long time, like 6 years.
Oh, goodness. What were you doing? What were you selling?
Well, you work your way up. You sell all sorts of stuff. You have to be 18 or whatever it is, 21, whatever it is to sell beer. So
Right.
that's the ultimate goal. But, somebody has to sell peanuts and somebody has to sell hot dogs. So you work your way up to whatever to get on that angle.
And doing that in the 60s, okay, you saw some pretty great players and some great teams, I would imagine. But
No, we were very bad. The Yankees and the Mets, they were all horrible at that time. I picked such an era that there was no players at that time. The only thing we had was a wife swap of Dooley.
Oh, right.
Warhawk,
That's
Warhawk
right.
and Fritz Peterson. They swapped wives. So that was the big deal at that time.
Sure.
That was kind of nowadays I think that would be normal.
Well, yeah, that story does ring a very loud bell. But in order to do well at that job, you got to entertain people. You got to give them something what you want. Was there any connection in your mind between getting people to buy stuff at Yankee Stadium and then maybe later getting on stage with a microphone and making strangers laugh?
No, none whatsoever.
No.
I go now for whatever occasion it may be. And at that time, I remember distinctly, beer was 35 cents a can.
Wow.
And now I think it's like you have to have a mortgage on your house.
Yeah, right.
I think that it's unbelievable, 35 cents. And it helped me with my counting situation. So that's the story there. But I got a question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Because I've been in Minneapolis 6 billion times. I used to manage the great Louis Anderson from there, and worked with the great Scott Hansen, and worked in the mall when it first opened. I think the name of the club then, I think it's changed now, but at that time it's called Knucklehead. But that was the name of the club then. But I got a thing for you guys. What is a movie that you've seen maybe 20, 30 times, but every time it comes on, you still watch it?
There's a few. A movie called The In-Laws with Peter Falk and Alan Arkin.
I love that. I love that movie. I haven't seen that in a while. I love that movie. It's fabulous. And a lot of people don't even know who Peter Falk is now. But it was just a great movie. And when they're getting ready to get shot, Alan Alda says, "Well, now what do you got? What are you going to do now?" They're going to. I don't
That's
know,
it?
man. This time you got me.
That's it? The dentist thing? I'm a dead man.
That was such a great movie, and I'm glad you brought it because it's an underrated movie.
For sure.
A lot of people don't know it, but that was and then when they have the money downstairs at the end of the movie, they have all the money buried away, and they go, well, We got it. Let's go.
It's incredible.
I love that movie.
Not a wasted line in the whole movie. Is there one that comes to your mind? What movie have you seen more than any other?
I tell you what I've seen. I've seen Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, that's mine.
I love that movie. It's the stupidest movie in the whole world.
Sure.
And I love it when he comes back on a little motorcycle after he's gone the wrong way for like 10,000 miles.
Right.
And he said, just when I thought that there was nothing more that you could do wrong, you come up with the best damn thing in the world. And they get on the hog. And they get on the hog, and they're riding into the city freezing. I love that. That's just a great. It's the stupidest movie in the world, but I love it. I love that movie. So stupid. Golly.
Yeah, we have that in common. Yeah, it's that was my go-to. I mean, when that's on, never will I stop. Plus, I drive everyone crazy. If you're sitting around with a group of people and everybody goes, well, I don't know what to watch. What's everybody want to watch? You know how they do that? Well, I don't know. What do you want to watch? I'll give you 5 seconds, and then I'm saying Dumb and Dumber, and that's what we're watching.
That is such a great movie. Yes. I love that. But I love that he came up with The In-Laws. Oh, darn heck. I don't think anybody ever would come up with that one. That's a great movie, man.
I've seen it. So I can't even tell you how many times. And it is. If I ever see that it's airing anywhere, I go right to it, no matter if it's 5 minutes in or in the last scene, and I'm watching it until the end. Jimmy Walker's with us on the KQ Morning Show, headlining the Crooners main stage at the Loons on the Lake Comedy Festival Friday night.
Guys, no headliner, one of the guys. That's all.
Okay.
Never a headliner.
All right, fair enough. A team player.
And the people. There's ladies on the show, too. So there's a lot of good people there.
That sounds great. Thank you for that. Speaking of movies and TV shows and things that we've seen a million times, I got to go back to the first time you hit my radar as a kid, and that was, of course, Good Times. The thing that blows my mind looking back and that I try to explain to my kids, 25% of the TVs in America would be watching your show on a weekly basis at one time. You were famous overnight in a way that's not really possible anymore, it seems like, because if you were famous in 1976, that was an entirely different realm. Were you at all prepared for the whirlwind of those early years?
Well, you got to remember, I came up in an era that, first of all, it was all clean comedy. That's one of the things that has changed drastically.
Sure.
And so our show at this thing is all clean. That's what we do. But I also came up in an era where there were a lot of, I guess people would say, not me, but iconic comics. You had Steve Martin, you had Richard Pryor, you had those kind of people like that, Gabe Kaplan, different era, Gary Shandling, those kind of people like that, Freddie Prinze. So, and then the comedic singers, we had Bette Midler, and then in New York we had our wait staff, which was Bette Midler, Liza Minnelli, and Pat Benatar. That was our wait staff.
Wow!
Wow! Wait, where? What wait staff? What are you talking about?
The club that we worked Catch a Ride His Star.
Unbelievable!
And we had waitresses.
Yeah,
and they
sure.
were waitresses. So and they would get up and sing Broadway tunes. Bette sang Broadway. Pat Benatar was a Broadway singer. She sang songs, like that kind of stuff like that. Liza Minnelli was a Broadway singer, and everybody would say, oh, she's Judy Garland's daughter. That's the only way she's there. But she was a waitress at the time. We had a lot of that. We had Al Jarreau. We had Jose Feliciano. We had a lot. They weren't waitresses, but they were singers. So we had a combination show where we had singers and comics.
Man, that is swimming in the deep end of talent right there.
Yeah, well, nobody, and you got to, and I think Bette would tell you, and I think Liza would tell you, and I think Pat would tell you, there were singers better than them.
Right.
That just never, whatever. I mean, I worked with a guy named Gideon. Al Jarreau, those guys said, I'm not following this guy. I'm not following him. He was that good. We had those guys. We had a guy, Marvin Brodman, who was later on the Seinfeld show. people would say, "That's it. I'm not following this guy." So, and we had improv groups with Fred Willard and Peter Boyle. I mean, there was just a lot of people around, doing whatever they did. So you don't really think about it that way in terms of who's what, this, that. And we were also, this is different than what comedy is now. We were also very, very good friends. Man. I look at it now with Richard Lewis, who's a good friend of mine. We're still friends to this day. Nowadays, comics are at war for some reason. I don't understand it. There's constant put downs. We never put down anybody. We love each other. That was just, and unfortunately, a lot of the guys have passed away.
Right.
Those things happen. Peter Boyle, I was so happy for him when he got the Ray Romano show, because he thought that something was going to happen after he did Taxi. He did Taxi, the movie.
Taxi driver.
Yeah.
Taxi driver.
And he thought something was going to happen, and never really, whatever. We had Stiller and Mary. Ben Stiller was like a little kid at that time.
Incredible.
And he would come in with his parents, and me and Nipsey Russell, not Nipsey Hussle, but Nipsey Russell.
Oh, I remember Nipsey Russell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he would always have like a little brownie camera with him. And he was like maybe 10, 12 years old, and he'd be taking pictures of us on Match Game and Hollywood Squares. And we said, "What are you doing, man?" He says, "I want to direct one day." And he was like 12 years old.
Jeez.
Really? Please, calm down. Take it easy. And now he's whatever he is.
I tell you what. I mean, Jimmy, you've just name-checked so many true icons. But when you said Hollywood Squares, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I grew up, man. That Hollywood Squares and Match Game, man, those were staples in my household when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Well, we had Stiller and Mary on all the time on both shows, and Ben Stiller was there with his sister, and they would in the dressing room act out things from Saturday Night Live. They would do the whole deal, because I used to see Belushi and Chevy Chase, and they had a show called Lemmings, which was a thing for National Lampoon, and we would go see that show.
Right.
So those are all those kind of people. So it was a different time. Nowadays, for some ungodly reason, there's a lot of hatred among comics. I don't get it.
Boy.
I remember being in Minneapolis with Mitch Hedberg and Louis. And and Scott Hansen, who was a staple there, whatever, and we did the Ice Fest or something, the Ice Festival or whatever it was. And then when Mitch came to Vegas, I got him and Doug Stanhope at Tommy Rocker's. That was one of the first gigs they ever did. And Mitch was just, when Mitch passed away, I was stunned. I was like, right. Oh my heck, darn it! What is? Oh yeah, oh wait. Because I didn't even know all this other stuff. And then Stanhope, he's a wild man. He's insane. He's one of the first justifiably insane people I've really.
His stand-up would suggest that. Yeah.
I love Stanhope, but he's insane. He really is.
Jimmy Walker is at the Loons on the Lake Comedy Festival Friday, June 23rd. LoonsOnTheLake.com. You can get tickets right there. Jimmy, I'm so sorry to say we got to bounce. We're done for the day.
Go. You guys are great.
Thank you.
I know you're running out of time. I know how it works. But thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. You guys go do your thing, have fun, and watch live comedy in Minneapolis.
Always.
Hopefully you'll come to this thing. But you guys always have. I mean, when I worked the Acme, all that stuff like that. You guys go do your thing. Fine. Have a good one. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Jimmy Walker, right there on the KQ Morning Show. Hey, listen, this is important. Right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, you can text the word SHIFT, SHIFT, to 651-989-ROCK for a chance to win $92.50 in free gas. Tickets to an upcoming show at Medina Entertainment Center, plus a shot at free gas for a year. Text SHIFT right now to 651-989-ROCK. Sponsored by Body Gastroenterology. Prize provided by Quick Trip and Medina Entertainment Center.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.